Well, you are either still alive or you're out, or who knows, because it's 2020. We're going to talk about that before the trees. Let's hit the intro. What a week. Let's get right into it. My name is Judah Buddha. I'm here with A.J. Herschel, the kid, and we will be talking to Jared. It's Jared, the ultimate stud who can't ever not beat me. We'll talk about that, but spoiler alert, nothing has changed. All is right in the world. Jared beat me again. So it's been a crazy week. Yep. We got a lot to talk about. I want to be able to wrap it up before, within an hour or so, but hopefully. How about you, man? AJ Herschel, the kid.
Yes,
how are you doing? How was your week? Let me know what's going on.
Good.
Coffee, so I might be a little hyped too. I forgot to tell you, I got a little coffee too. So
okay, that explains it. Yeah, I'm feeling good tonight. My voice might disappear within the first 20 minutes. I've been talking a lot, but other than that, doing good. Just I mean, today on the Roto Hackers podcast. So what can go wrong, right? And I finished 5-2 this week, so solid week. Unfortunately, the two I lost were games that I would have liked to win, but that's okay because a lot of my other teams starting to rear for the playoffs. So solid fantasy week overall for me. How about yourself?
Well, Jared and I were talking about this. Doesn't it feel like you could easily get into the playoffs with 7-7 this year?
I think it depends on how big your league is. Even if it's 4 like 10 team 4, I could believe someone could get in at 7-7. Yeah, it's so many of my leagues are just everybody from. There's like the 2 teams that dominate, and everybody from 2 to 9 are all just 5-4, 4-5.
Yeah, we have a lot of 5 and 5s, right? Because that was week 10.
Yeah,
we have a lot of 5 and 5s. I have a lot of 5 and 5s. I have $100 league where I am third, and I got Finn, right? Don't you?
Yeah,
Finn.
Of course I do.
Finland, he just beat me. He beat me in the church league by 2 points because of J.K. Dobbins. I will never say his name again without cursing. So. Yeah, so it was rough as far as that goes, but it's weird. I'm still in it in many of the leagues. Well, I'd say about half, but tenuously. I pretty much have to, the math has to be tight for these days. For most of those leagues. I'm at the top half in 3 leagues. And then the one I was at the top and Jared knocked me down. His beating of me knocked me down to 6th place. So
oh no. That's sad.
I didn't have Mahomes. That's my excuse. Allied Rivals. I'm guessing since you're here, that's Cademan.
Yeah.
Join Allied Rivals every now and then.
Yeah.
Talking about sports, some really interesting stuff. Their most viewed video is about, it's like, what's your favorite
player not on your favorite team?
Player that's not on your favorite team. Yeah. That was interesting.
Yeah.
But hey, cool. Cademan, he said, Roto Hackers? And we say,
yes, sir.
We here. So I told him we were on the way. Thomas H, he's hot off the press saying, I hate Tampa Bay running backs. You know what? I love me some Tampa Bay Rojo. Everything I said about him last year was right.
I love this character arc of Thomas H. Right, the Falcons fan who changes his profile picture to a Bucks quarterback who hates Tampa Bay running backs. It's we've come full circle here.
Oh mercy. We have Len Boy watching. Hey, what's up, Len Boy? We have Todd Eldridge in the house. What's up, boys? Let me break down the ending of my fantasy matchup for you. Okay. Let us know what happened. Oh, okay. Here it is. Roll the drums.
I don't know.
I'm all right. I'm
Drum
down 115.88 to 91.6 coming into Monday night. Justin Jefferson goes off with 46 seconds left. I'm only 1.8 points in a PPS.
I think it's PPR.
Okay. Then Ryan Null, everybody. Ryan Null, his only catch for 12 won my game, and that is from Todd Eldridge. Oh, that is epic.
Wow. 116.8 to 115. It don't get much closer than that.
And Ryan Null, of all people. Ryan Null.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
Can I just say, my boy, Patterson, had a pretty nice game.
Yeah, that is true.
Right?
That is true. Mm-hmm. That is true.
I had somebody, I think Scarabby, I think Cademan offered me Scarabby Giraffe offered me I got to look at that trade, but he's on bye this week, Patterson. Mm-hmm. So I may take that trade, but he looked pretty good out there.
Mm-hmm.
He got into a little tiff with somebody.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm going to be 100% honest. I am so sick of watching Cordero Patterson run sweeps. Oh my God.
He's good at it though.
But we run it every other day.
I know. You know, it's funny when Lamar Jackson said they know what they know our plays. I'm like, doesn't stop the boring old Bears. Run a sweep, maybe. They're gonna run a sweep.
Let's run the most obvious wide receiver screen pass on 2nd and 14. Brilliance, Holmes, brilliant.
Oh man. All right. Well, let's get right into well, first of all, what are your takeaways from last weekend? Was there anything other than the news? There's some news we got to talk about, of course. Yeah. So news aside, so injuries aside, what is there something that you're coming out of last week saying, okay?
So Christian McCaffrey's not back this week.
That's some injury news, but no, but like a revelation that came from watching somebody, or maybe seeing the box scores. I don't know if you watched everybody, so I didn't watch everybody, but I did watch the most of the Ravens game, and I saw a glimmer of hope. I saw a glimmer of hope for my boy. I shouldn't call him my boy. For my friend. He's not even my friend. My player on my fantasy team, Lamar Jackson, I think that he could get better. He did okay, and the conditions were terrible. They were just terrible. I mean, I wish I had known they were going to be that bad.
Yeah, Colin Cowherd put it really well because he's like, everyone's going to hate on Lamar Jackson. Congratulations. Your third-year quarterback lost to Bill Belichick in a monsoon.
Come on, man. It was gross. I mean, the weather was just brutal. Yeah. So I looked at the schedule coming up, and it looks pretty good. Good passing schedule. I think that we could see a surge here. Open, of course, because I have a lot of shares of Lamar. But I think we could see a surge because he looked more decisive. There's something in his eyes that were just a little more tiger, a little less. Oh man, What about you? What did you take out of this last weekend?
Yeah, honestly, there was just a whole lot going on, and despite the fact that DeAndre Hopkins is still reaffirming that he is the greatest wide receiver in the NFL,
he's definitely a good catcher.
Thomas H., I know you hate Tampa running backs, but I'm starting to hate Colts running backs, man. I'm so done. Wilkins 2 weeks ago, Taylor 3 weeks ago, Hines this week. It's a dart throw.
Hines, man. Hines is the one to go with.
I know.
I'm going to pick him up everywhere.
See, that's the other thing. I love the arc of your Nyheim Hines story arc where you drafted him everywhere and then dropped hhim, and then he blew up week 1, so you bought him back and then dropped him again, and now you're going to pick him up again.
It's like me in stocks, man. I buy high, sell low.
I gotta say though, it's starting to get a little bit annoying about what's going on with the Colts running backs, and if Christian McCaffrey can't pull it together, man, I need him in our listener league.
I mean, all biases aside, do you think he's coming back?
I don't even know, if I'm being honest. I think it depends on how serious this one is. If he's fine through the end, I mean, he's got Denver, Green Bay, and Washington. The only one I'm scared of there is Washington. Everything else,
they're pretty good, right?
They're not bad. If fantasy points, half point PPR, they give up 20th least. So they're 20th. They're 20th is what I should say. So bottom, they don't give up a lot of points. But I mean, that's not Pittsburgh, Baltimore type numbers, right? They're still beatable. So I am definitely interested to see what happens there, but he's worrying me. And it's interesting. The 3 leagues where I lost McCaffrey, those are the ones that I'm almost set for the playoffs in. And the one I traded for, I don't know what happened there. And the ones I don't have him in, I'm in trouble. So I don't know. That seems backwards, but
okay. I know what you mean. Yeah. I know what you mean. I don't have any McCaffrey, but I get stuck in those kind of cycles.
Yeah. Also, Justin Jefferson popped off Monday night. He won me a game.
He looks good.
His boomer bust is starting.
He won it for Landboy too.
There you go. Yeah. There we go. That's what we're talking about.
Or no, Todd Eldridge. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go. See, he gets it. Todd there Eldridge. We go.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, yeah, Justin Jefferson, I think, is legit. I'm gonna go. So I've been getting Jonathan Buster and I have been getting pretty hot and heavy into the football card hobby.
Okay.
And I got, what did I pull? Oh, I pulled a Justin Herbert mosaic. And it was one of those hologram behind him and stuff. Nice. Sold it for $100.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, man. Dang. So that sort of wetted my whistle. And but here's the thing: is when they get to Walmart, they last maybe a couple hours, and they're all gone.
Wow, that's crazy. Oh,
yeah, it's weird.
That's crazy.
So both of us we've been scouring the eBays trying to find good deals on boxes and stuff. He just got a couple boxes and he pulled some really cool cards.
Nice.
I sold, you know what I sold? Taysom Hill signature signed card. Beautiful card.
Nice.
I sold it for $20, but it's probably going to be worth more because we got to get into the news.
There we go.
That's our segue. Taysom Hill. Got to get the stinger. There it is.
News in the NFL today.
More like this week, but I mean, close enough.
All All right. Well, the big news is that Drew Brees is going to miss some time. He had a collapsed lung, terrible bruising, and maybe some breaking in the rib section. The man is not healthy. Are we going to see the Jameis Winston, famous Jameis Winston? Is this famous Jameis season?
I'm gonna be 100% honest. This is Sean Payton we're talking about. I wouldn't put it past him to show up and Taysom Hill comes out and throws for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns because he said he's not going to tell anyone because he doesn't want to give up their game plan, which makes sense. With Taysom, you're running a whole different offense than Jameis Winston, who's a pocket passer. So
why would you tell him, right? Yeah,
exactly. So I think if Jameis Winston starts, I know probably people are hurting with Breeze out. I mean, they get the Falcons. If he's going to throw on anybody, it's going to be the Falcons. And I mean, granted, yeah, sure, they've been better under Raheem Morris, but I mean, this is still, it's the same back line. Their offense is the thing that's been getting better, not really so much their defense, which I mean, it hasn't been bad, to be fair. Held Carolina to 17 on a short week.
Yeah.
Held Minnesota to 23, but
ever since they lost, what's his name? The coach, man, their defense suddenly has sprung forward. Right?
It's like a weight was lifted off of.
Yeah.
So yeah,
well,
Jameis could be a good play if he starts. I think he could be a good play.
I think Jameis. I was hoping for this, and yet I didn't pick him up. Not hoping for it. I love Drew Brees, but I think Jameis, like I have been following him. I really was interested in seeing what happened to him over the summer. Saw that he got LASIK surgery on his eyes. Saw that he's been working hard. He's been working under Drew, with Taysom. He's somebody who's just ready. I feel like this is time and place for something big. And even if it's just, I think he's a way better replacement than Bridgewater, who did fine, right?
Even Bridgewater did good. Bridgewater did good in Breeze's absence. He had a couple of like moments where you could start to see that he's not as elite as Breeze, obviously, but he did solid, for a reliever. Ain't bad.
I don't know, man. I think now take it with a grain of salt. I'm not very astute when it comes to quarterbacks. Thank you, Andy Dalton. But I think it is something to look at. I am going to go out and try to get him everywhere tonight. So
interesting.
Well, okay, I'll say not everywhere because I don't think where I have Mahomes, I feel like I'm solid.
Of course.
What do you think, Herbert? Would you take Herbert? Or
I took Herbert. I took Herbert everywhere 3 weeks ago.
No, I know, but
I loved him.
Would Jameis be a good backup for Herbert?
I would like that, especially if Herbert starts going downhill, even though his matchups definitely aren't that hard for the end of the season, especially in terms of passing, which is why I grabbed him everywhere I could 3 weeks ago. I think he's a decent backup for Herbert if he gets a 1 week injury or something, because you do not want to be left in the dust, especially. Plus, since you're obviously starting Herbert this week over Winston, sit him for a week, see how he does. If he gets a 5 points, move on.
I think that's well said. Well, let's move on to some other news. I think we'll talk more about Jameis in the waiver wire portion. But what about the Carolina Panthers? It seems like they have lost. Speaking of Bridgewater, have lost him for at least a game, maybe a couple.
Yeah.
Who's backing him up? Is it somebody to think about picking up? We got PJ Walker, who's a small but feisty little guy who did well in the
XFL. That's my XFL, dude.
That's right. Is that somebody who we should look at maybe picking up if we can't get Jameis?
I think it's definitely interesting. I don't think Will Grier is going to start. Granted, they're both listed as second on the depth chart, to which I immediately went, wait, that makes no sense. But when Bridgewater went out, who's the one who came in? PJ Walker. And granted, he didn't do great.
He did well. I think he did okay.
He did all right. Yeah. He did all right in relief in a rainy, not great condition game in Atlanta. I think he could be interesting. He definitely adds the running aspects in the XFL. That was another thing that he did very, very well, ran with the football. I think it'll definitely be interesting. I don't know if I'd start him unless I was in a deeper league because I'd much rather trust Winston. I can't believe I said that. I'd much rather trust Winston with NFL experience coming in on a really good team with a good offensive line than the Carolina Panthers and PJ Walker. I don't feel bad about him, but I'd rather try to get Winston. But they are playing the Lions, so I mean, you're not going to get much better matchups.
Well, and Teddy hasn't been totally ruled out. They say it's an MCL sprain. It's not, he hasn't.
It'll probably keep him out for.
Yeah,
week,
I mean, Panthers have been really cautious, and so. And then on top of that, we have the Lions quarterback. Speaking of the Lions, Matthew Stafford has had tests on his thumb, and X-rays are negative. They're concerning. He may be limited this week. I don't think he's going to miss time. Stafford hates missing time, but is this going to sort of limit his ability? I think it is on his passing hand.
Yeah.
I have to effort that, but
look, I have Stafford in our Roto Hackers listener league. It's frustrating. Let me tell you that. And it's not just the injuries, it's the fact that he came off the COVID list and then lost me a game because I should have started him first. Anyway, apparently Stafford hasn't played that well under hand injuries. I mean, he's thinking got a partially torn ligament in his throwing hand. Like, I don't care who you are. That's rough. He's played through broken index fingers before, but when he does come off injury, throws a lot of picks. So if you've got a better option, I'd go with it. But I mean, especially later in the year, I don't know. Would I go Jameis over Matthew Stafford?
I would.
I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think I want to see if the medical staff says he's 100% ready to go, if he's feeling good, or even at like 85%. This is still Stafford, but if he says he's iffy, if the medical team isn't 100%, but he's still going to play because, he's Stafford, I'm probably out on him. Granted, also, Stafford's been playing for 12 years. That makes me feel old.
Holy cow. He's been in for 12 years. Wow.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
If you think you feel old. You were once my student. Now, what do you think this means? What now I feel. What does this mean for Swift?
If Stafford does play, or if he doesn't, more checkdowns. I think this is good for Swift. He's the passing back. Peterson is really the main reason why he hasn't been getting many points is because he steals it on the ground. I think Swift it could be all right.
So good too. Like when he gets the ball, like his problem isn't his skill or his ability or what he's done with the ball. It's just opportunity at this point, right?
Mm-hmm. There you go. Yep, I completely agree.
Okay. Well, that brings us. You did mention his name. We have to mention a little bit of your boy. Do we have a nickname for him? Nick. Anyways, I just forgot his last name. Nick Foles.
Yeah, the Giant Slayer. Yeah. Brady Killer.
The Giant Slayer, the Brady. So he hasn't done great, and then he went down.
He got me 3 points. I almost lost a game last week because of that.
Well, it looked awful. I was watching the game, and it looked awful. I thought, but although when I saw the actual mechanism of when getting hurt, I thought he fell down. What's going on? But apparently, it's nothing really bad. It's just some big bruising or something on his hip.
Yeah, it's weird. They said it's better than expected, so I mean, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. It doesn't matter. We've got our bye week finally this week, so.
Well, do you think he's going to come back after the bye week, or do you think it's going to be the biscuit?
You know why I'm here.
Uh-oh, we lost him.
I don't know. I don't know what to say about Bears quarterbacks. All right. For all I know, Tyler Bray could be the hero that we need at this point.
Tyler Bray. Now he suited up yesterday, right? Or when was it?
He played on that final drive, and granted, he completed like a pass, but he was throwing darts. Like he was not afraid to take chances. So
I was hoping he'd go a little bit more too. I had Robinson going in that game, and I was just like, throw it to Robinson. And he threw it once, but Robinson missed it. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see going forward what happens. Is there any other news? It looks like Mixon's coming back next week.
Finally.
It looks like. We have no idea for sure, though. Valdez-Scantling went off this week.
Mm-hmm.
Devontae is questionable.
Lazard should be back this week too.
Lazard's back. I would pick up some Lazard tonight. I really would.
If people don't have him, a lot of people have been just stashing him on IR.
That's true. I have him in a lot of places. Is there any other injury news or news in the NFL that we need to cover? Looks like Carson gets limited practice. He'll probably be back this week.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good.
Yeah, I've needed him back.
Looks like Mo start, Coleman, and Debo could be back for week 12. Wait, week 12. That's 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So yay. Because they're on bye this week.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. 49ers on bye this week. So, and Drew Lock looks like he had a severe sprain. Didn't fracture anything, but he looked terrible, man. I'm sorry about your Broncos. I know you like the Broncos, but man.
Yeah, it was a rough game, which is completely contradictory of what happened in the last 2 games.
I know.
Great, but
I played Lock against Jared, the stud.
And speak of the absolute stud himself, right on cue.
Well, what do you have to say for yourself, sir? I haven't said much about it yet. I submit the floor to you.
I don't know what to say. I don't know.
It's just another day for you.
Another day at the office. Another day at the office, 9 to 5. Just another 9 to 5er.
How much did you beat me by?
I think it was like no, it was like 126.58 or something like that.
Oh my gosh. I could not. I don't think I could have imagined a worse showing. I was like, yeah. I wasn't even surprised. I was like, yeah. That's why I don't brag anymore. That's why I do not say anything anymore because I don't know that
that seems to be influencing it like at all, like whether or not you're bragging about it, because you've gone both ways on it.
Influence it, but I know at this point there's no need. If I brag, I'm just gonna eat it later. That's all.
As soon as AJ Brown posted that 2-pointer on Thursday night, I'm like, I think this is gonna go well for me.
No, it did. Oh man, I had Locke who. Oh yeah, he had sweet little 5 points or so. I don't know. What did he give him? 10?
I don't know. He was a dud. I started him in a league too.
I started Lindsay because I thought that was real smart, real cute there, Judas. Put Lindsay in there with his buddy Melvin Gordon, and both of them should go off. Mm-hmm. Opposite. I had nobody who did anything. And your guys, who was your guy that went off? Like, it feel like just everybody on your bench went off.
I'll have to look back
on your bench, on your lineup.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers did, and then he had like 26 or so.
30. Yeah.
And then I know like my kicker and defense. I think my kicker in defense was, let's see, Carlson, who had 15. My defense had 12, and then my big guy was Jacobs, who had 27.6.
Oh yeah,
and then the guy that you traded to me, who I almost didn't even put in the lineup. I was debating it. Mike Evans had one of his vintage past Mike Evans games where he had 16.7. So
I was watching that game. And I was like, oh, yeah, makes sense.
And I should have left in, I told you I was thinking about starting Josh Reynolds, and I should have started him
like
over
12 points, right?
13.4. Yeah.
13.
I ended up putting in Devontae Parker instead. I should have started Reynolds, but
I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah. So maybe somebody took my Josh Reynolds advice.
It was a fun game.
You guys are shaping up for potentially like a late season showdown in our league.
I know,
because you guys play each other the final week.
I know, we can determine who makes it.
Yeah, because you're right there, and I mean, maybe both. We don't know how it'll shake out by then, but maybe it won't be the deciding thing, but it could be. Could be the deciding.
Wow,
that's who makes the playoffs.
Yeah. I don't have the greatest record against Judah Buddha, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, I don't have a very good record against anybody this year. So.
Well, hey, hopefully that week 14, I get McCaffrey back. Please give me McCaffrey back week 14.
I think they're gonna shut him down. What do you think? What do you think, Jared? Do you think they're gonna shut him down?
I actually haven't checked the last couple of days to see what the latest was, but they made it sound, I don't know. I mean, everyone makes it sound this year like, oh yeah, this guy's he's probably gonna play this week, and then a month later they're still questionable. That's been yet just one more frustration for this year is like the every week is like, questionable, but we think he's going to play, and then they don't ever practice, and then they don't practice the next week, and then they don't practice the next week, and so I mean we've just seen this with. With right now, it's like the Seahawks running backs, Chris Carson. I mean, just across the board.
Who was the dude who got like all the carries for Seattle this week? Who was that? Like I
didn't even see because I didn't start any of those guys against the Rams and didn't pay attention to any of them. So
yeah, Alex Collins got 11 carries for 43 yards.
Oh yeah, old Alex. He used to be with the Ravens. He used to,
Goodness.
do the same thing over there with the Ravens.
The 5th Seahawks running back. Okay.
Yeah, I just read where I guess they the Panthers are expecting it to be a multi-week absence for Christian McCaffrey. So yeah, that does make you wonder, like, will they bring him back for like 3 weeks or something? I'm
just looking at the chat. What is this, Jared? But this is like a cool podcast. I wouldn't even be willing to join if someone sent me a link. I never say. How did you get in? I totally forgot.
He sent it to me.
I sent it to him,
I'm sorry. Well, other than Jared, we have. That's awesome. We have it's blowing up here in the chat, so we need to get to the chat. Anything else about the news? Jared, did you have anything about the news? Jameis, are you gonna play Jameis? Are you gonna try to get him anywhere?
I would have to be pretty desperate. I just feel like they're probably gonna run the ball. He didn't show much. I mean, it depends on what kind of league you're in. If you're in a 10-team league, it's a harder. It's more of a stretch. I don't know. I mean, I think he's worth rostering. Somebody needs to roster him, but I would not want to have to be the guy to do it.
Well, that sounds like a good job description for me. Everything Jared does not want to do. Like lose. Any of the injuries pique your interest? Any let's see, we talked a little bit about Stafford being out, Bridgewater.
Yeah.
Not a lot of great opportunities here, I guess.
No. Not really. I mean, there's some solid running backs on the wire this week. It might be only a 1 or 2 week solution on some of those guys, but I guess we'll probably get to some of that stuff later with waiver wire stuff. But
okay, well, to give us enough time to do that, let's try to fly through the
comments.
The comments. We got Len Boy starting us off hot about an hour ago. Said, "Hey guys, I have 2 open flex spots with C. Kirk, ABJ,
Antonio Brown.
Oh, okay, Grant, and also Hollywood.
Oof.
I have a special place in my heart. It's a hatred place for Hollywood, so I'm not gonna say Hollywood.
Wait, who's Grant?
Jakeem Grant.
Jakeem Grant. He had a big game this week.
4 or 5 targets for 43 yards. I mean,
had a touchdown, so that
and a touchdown. Yeah. I think I like Kirk. I love Kirk.
He's playing Seattle this week, so I think that should say everything.
It's kind of like the press all your wide receiver button, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think? Kirk or?
Well, he needs 2. So for me, it's Kirk and AB. I mean, AB, he didn't have a monster game. He had 10.1 points, but he had 8 targets, caught 7 of them for 69 yards. So,
that's off the rust.
Yeah, it looks like it. So that's an easy Kirk and AB for me, I think.
Yeah, barring Antonio Brown getting suspended again because he threw a bicycle at a camera or something stupid.
I saw that. Yeah.
Which is just apparently he had destroyed a camera and thrown a bicycle before Tampa Bay signed him, and the NFL just found out about it because he hadn't been charged. So barring him not being able to play this week, I'm with Jared on this one. Otherwise, maybe
it really does just feel like a matter of time with him, like
I can't believe he's still here.
Right. Well, I mean, only because they didn't know about this other, it was like something at like his, gated community or whatever, where he got mad and threw a bicycle at a security camera. I mean, that is the ABES story.
Yes.
Vintage AB.
Oh my god.
I mean, it's just, I mean, take the most absurd stories that, you could find, like two random items that do not fit together.
Yep.
Put them together and add in a crime. and that is like a day in the life of Antonio Brown.
Oh my god.
Like a I don't even know.
There is no comparison for Antonio Brown. AB just is.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Like you could take like one of those like water floaties, like the unicorn water floaty, and then like breaking into a secure nuclear site, and put those together and add in Antonio Brown, and that will be like an Antonio Brown crime.
Nobody's surprised. Right?
And everybody's like, yeah, I mean, that just fits as well as anything else.
Okay, well, moving on. Liam says, "What's up, guys? Hey, I think Liam is active in our in our
Discord.
What's it called? Discord. We got Liam, Anthony, who else?
Whole bunch of people. Claudio,
and I forget his name. He's always in there. I can't remember. He'll probably be in the chat. Come join us. I'll put the link in there eventually.
I can go ahead and grab that and put that in real quick.
Okay. He says, I have 2 open flex spots.
That's the same question.
Oh, okay. I'm an idiot.
That's right.
So let's go on to a question. Interesting. Lenboy says, I think Brady will be able to use all his weapons, looking at how Big Ben is going. Yeah, Big Ben. I could have played Big Ben against Jared. I thought about it, and then somebody else picked him up. Wouldn't have helped, but it would have been, better than 50 points or whatever I got. Keep Brady. So what is this in relation to? Okay, so trying to replace Breeze. It's a barren landscape of waivers. Looking at Tua, Tannehill, or Winston. I got to tell you, Tua and Winston, to me, I don't know. I'm kind of excited. What do you guys think about Tua at this point? Maybe not for fantasy. I don't know how he did for fantasy, but he's looking pretty good. Did he do okay? I really don't know. What he did
just 14.66 points. He didn't really pass for that many yards. They won. He had 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, he was a better real life quarterback than he was.
It's like Herbert is better for fantasy. Tua is better for real life.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, but the Dolphins defense is playing better than the Chargers defense,
Very much so. True.
What do you guys think about this question? He's replaced Brady with Tua or Cam this week. Also, somebody else. But let's just talk about Tua, Tannehill, and Winston are on his waiver.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it kind of depends on, like, if you've only got room to roster one, it kind of depends on your situation, because Tannehill has had a tough schedule for, the better part of a month or so, or at least the last couple of weeks.
It's not getting that much better.
Not for the next couple of weeks. He gets Baltimore and at Indiana, and those are Indianapolis, and those are not friendly.
I dropped him. Yeah.
But then he gets Cleveland at home, at Jacksonville, at home against Detroit, and then Green Bay. So if you've got room to roster Tannehill and you think you're going to make the playoffs, like, he gets a pretty good end of the season schedule. And I think a lot of his, performance, maybe more so than other quarterbacks, is just matchup based. So
I think Liam is number one in his league. If this is the league he was talking about before.
Yeah. If you're number one and you're, have a little bit of a lead, and if you can roster 2, I would maybe try to pick up Tannehill and, maybe Winston. I mean, he gets Atlanta twice in the next couple of weeks. So
True.
you got to think he's going to be able to put up something. But the thing that worries me with him is just, I'm not sure if he's going to have that freedom that he has I don't think he's going to have that freedom that he has in Tampa, or that he had in Tampa, where it's just like, oh yeah, if you want to throw 4 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, no worries. I think they're going to, run the ball with Kamara more, and their defense is solid. So that's the thing that worries me about him. But Tua is just not putting up a ton, and his schedule, I think he's got Denver this week. Yeah, he's at Denver this week. The Jets, Cincinnati. I mean, his schedule's okay. You could make an argument for Tua, but I think my biggest takeaway from that would be probably your best bet, if you're pretty confident that you're going to make the playoffs, is to roster Tannehill, so that when you get there, he's going to have some nice matchups, and I think he can, perform well in those.
AJ, what do you think?
I think I agree with that. I like Tua as a real life quarterback, not that much as a fantasy quarterback. I think Winston's definitely going to get points this week against Atlanta twice. I think Alvin Kamara is probably going to get some dump offs, but yeah, like Jared said, playing the long game, go Tannehill.
Okay. Similar question. I was mentioning it earlier. Replace Brady, because Brady's he's on bye this week, with Tua. No, is Brady on bye this week?
No, they got Monday night.
Why are you replacing Brady?
He may just be talking about it being a bad matchup against the Rams.
True.
Yeah, I can see. Are the Rams a bad matchup?
I mean, they shut down Russ this past week.
That is true. All right.
Well, granted, the Seahawks have a mediocre offensive line too. Like, the Bucks have a great.
I like their offensive line. In Tampa Bay, but if you want to replace him, Tua or Cam Newton. Cam Newton does have kind of a good matchup this week. Who's it?
Houston.
Okay, so
Nice.
Houston.
Nice. I'd go Cam here. Like we said, Tua's a decent real life quarterback, but hasn't showed a lot for fantasy. And I mean, Cam's always going to have that safe running floor. Go Cam.
how many points did he have last week against?
I think he got 18, was it? 17?
I think so.
It's not too bad,
Yeah.
and it was like downpouring and against that tough defense. Which is it still a tough defense?
It wasn't this week. It was like
Uh-huh.
it looked like a bad high school defense that couldn't stop a triple option or something. You know, like it was just coming every time, and they just couldn't stop it.
Yep.
I don't know.
The Ravens, I don't know. I wonder if they're just going to start to get. We'll see if they can turn it around, but it just feels like this is just like imploding on them for this year. Like Lamar complaining about other teams knowing the play calls and just the way that defense performed. You know, their receivers just aren't getting anything. The running backs, it's, you know, these three running backs, none of which are really viable for fantasy. If all three of them are in there, it just feels like the Ravens just aren't going to produce much of anything the rest of this year.
Kind of does feel like that. Although their passing schedule gets a lot better. I think Dallas, and I think they have Dallas next, or somebody who's just feels like it's a get right game. And the schedule going forward.
Yeah, they have Tennessee this week. And then Pittsburgh. They do get Dallas in week 13, and then Cleveland, and then we knew from the start of the season that week 15 playoff matchup with Jacksonville is very nice.
Oh, so they still have to get through. I forgot they have to play. They have to play Steelers. I don't have to think about that. That's tough. Yeah, it may be over for them. All right, what do we have in the chat? Good evening. Anthony's in the chat.
What's
says
up?
good evening, Roto Hackers.
Good game this week, by the way, man. Came down to the wire. I got saved by Thielen late. Good game, man.
You got a Thielen. He says, should I drop Jonathan Taylor to pick up Damian Harris? Wait, people like Damian Harris now? Interesting.
One of my leagues, a guy dropped Jonathan Taylor in one of my leagues, $100 league.
Wow.
I don't think I would drop Jonathan Taylor.
I wouldn't either.
I mean, it is disappointing. It's frustrating. You're going to hate him, but I think they have a good schedule.
They have a great schedule.
And I don't know. I still believe in his. It's not necessarily his. He's not a complete package, but he has something to offer, and I just don't believe in. I like Naheem Hines, but what's the other guy's name?
Wilkins.
Wilkins. I don't believe in Wilkins. Wilkins is not going to do anything, and they still go to Jonathan Taylor at the goal line.
Yeah, I think they not only invested a second round pick in him, but traded up for him because the owner wanted them to trade up for him. So they have a lot of incentive to try to get Jonathan Taylor going. I don't really like him except in easy matchups. But like you said, I mean, he does have I know week 15 is Houston. That's a pretty attractive matchup. But between now and then, I'm sorry, he's got Green Bay and then Tennessee. I don't know how great I feel about Tennessee, but Green Bay is friendly to running backs. They've given up the third most. And then after that Tennessee matchup, he gets Houston, Vegas, and then Houston again. I mean, that is so that's nice. Some running back for Indianapolis is going to do well. I don't know if it's going to be him, but one of them at least is going to do well.
I'm going back to the Naheem Hines. Well,
yeah.
I told AJ Hacker. I told AJ earlier. I said,
you just call him AJ Hacker?
AJ Hacker.
No, you're weird. I didn't say that. I said I'm playing. I play fantasy football like I do stocks. Like I buy high, I sell low. Winning strategy. Speaking of a winning strategy, Thomas H says, so in the Roto Hackers League, the only player I spent major money on was Michael Thomas.
That's right.
I'm still waiting.
And yet he's still like number 4 or 3 or whatever he is. I don't know.
But what will change with Jameis? I mean, I was looking at it today. He started his first game. He had like 3 fantasy points. He hasn't had over 5 fantasy points since being back. Could it be that Jameis switches the script?
I mean, I think it's always possible. And like, unfortunately, this is one of those things where we finally got to the point with Zeke for the most part, where for the most part, we're benching him. With Thomas, can you really bench him? I mean, he's one of the most talented receivers in the NFL. We know Jameis likes to throw the ball a lot. And yeah, maybe the Saints decide, haha, we've seen your game tape. Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray are going to get a whole lot of work this week. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Jameis is going to do fine. He's Michael Thomas. You can't really bench him.
And especially not with 2 out of the next 3 matchups against Atlanta's
True. There you go.
pass defense, which gives up the second most points to receivers. Like,
there you go.
I mean, for what I'm not a fan of just like riding guys, regardless. But I think in this situation, for who Michael Thomas is and what you've spent on him and the matchups, like you just got to put him in there and say, if he flops, he flops.
You're obviously not a Michael Thomas owner because, or maybe you are, but I, as in one league, I have him, and I've been saying that for 9 or 10 weeks.
Yeah. I have him in 1 out of my 30 leagues. So, and needless to say, that team is basically one of my few that's just out of contention. Just like 3 and 7 or something.
One of my friends got carried by Thomas last year, so he went and got him in every single league he was in, and I'm like.
Now we said on the Roto Hackers podcast, all 3 of us. This is not the year to go all in on Michael Thomas.
He had a career year last year, and I mean he's great. He's still great, but I mean he had a career year. You were buying at his absolute peak, and we talked about Devontae Adams and how we thought he was going to have a monster year and maybe be the number 1 because he had some injuries last year, and it started out looking like, oh, well, this may be a repeat of last year where he, got hurt in week 2 and missed a couple games after that. But I mean, Devontae Adams in the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of the 7 games he's played, he's been over 26 points in 4 out of 7, over 26 points in 4 out of 7.
Let me check something really quick. Did he help me beat Jared? No, man. Huh. Weird. He got hurt.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. And good game, Thomas H. He put up a lot of points, but
yeah.
I just put up.
You put up 130, so
I put up 130. Yeah.
Just another day.
So did you retain your title as number 1?
Oh yeah. It hurts when Eifert lost by a couple of points.
That's right.
And
realize
he's not
Ben beat him.
I know. Oh my goodness.
Congratulations, Ben.
Jonathan Buster isn't here today.
Yeah, so I've got a 1 game lead in for first place, and it's probably more than a 1 game lead because somebody would probably need to finish a game ahead of me because Jonathan's the only one that could really catch me in points, and he would have to do pretty well over the next 3 weeks. So
he does have Dalvin Cook.
He does have Dalvin Cook, but I don't need the 1 seed. I just want one of the top 2 and get the week 14 bye. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Kashif Mustafa says, thanks everybody for being in the chat. Really appreciate your guys' comments. With the injury to Foles in PPR, do you think Allen Robinson or AJ Brown is more valuable for playoffs? That's a good question. Allen Robinson has been a down year for him.
Yeah,
not been a great year.
You can just say that for Chicago's offense.
But they're probably going to make the playoffs, right?
Nah, not anymore. After we lost to the Vikings, we're 5-5, and we still have to play the Packers twice. If we would have to basically run the table to make it into the playoffs, especially the way the Rams are looking. So no, we're not. We've worked our way to the 15th draft pick, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
Sometimes that's good. AJ Brown is a huge disappointment this week, which probably means next week he'll do fine, right? I mean,
yeah,
he's been okay. You're not complaining, right? I am, but
See, the thing with AJ Brown is that he is kind of the deep threat. He gets a lot of targets, but recently he hasn't been getting many catches. Like last 3 weeks, 4 catches, 1 catch. But he gets the targets for sure.
He drops them.
Anyway, he gets the targets for sure. And my biggest fear for AJ Brown the next 2 weeks is that he gets Baltimore and Indy again. So Tennessee's going to have to make major adjustments if they want to beat Indianapolis. But down the road, they get nice matchups in Detroit. And, I mean, Green Bay, Jair Alexander's probably going to be on him against the Packers. But the Titans are going to have to go all out because guess what? They'll be fighting for a division crown at that point probably. So I would go A.J. Brown with a team that actually has something to prove and they need to win games over Allen Robinson. And I don't know who's throwing the football at that point.
Yeah. What do you think?
In Allen Robinson's defense, well, I don't know how much we really even need to defend him. Like we know who's throwing to him, but in defense of his future production, especially over the fantasy playoffs, he gets Minnesota and Jacksonville, which are friendly matchups. He didn't do that much. Honestly, I think what would probably be best for Allen Robinson would be if Mitch Trubisky came back in. Not the best for the Bears necessarily, but Mitch Trubisky he was just like a one read and his read was Allen Robinson and he threw the ball to Allen Robinson. So I don't know how time. Yeah. So I don't know, they say Foles' injury is apparently not that serious. Yeah. I just, they don't seem to really be going anywhere with him. I don't know. For Allen Robinson, it would be better if Mitch Trubisky came back. That Jacksonville matchup in week 16 is pretty attractive regardless. Yeah. And on paper, Minnesota should have been. But just the Bears just couldn't do anything. So I don't know. Maybe, if they do stick with Foles, then, maybe you got to go AJ Brown because he has, some friendly playoff matchups too. And he's got a better quarterback throwing to him. So, but if Mitch Trubisky comes back, I think you could make a good argument for going with Robinson. Cause he just gets over
AJ.
Yeah. Cause he just gets locked in on him. At least in that, at least in that week 16 matchup with Jacksonville, yeah, that is a friendly matchup.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Sounds good. Ryan N. Hello.
Hey, it's been a minute. What's up?
Back. Hey, join our Discord. You should be in there if you're not. Oh, he did.
Yes, he did.
Well, then
perfect timing.
Sam Joshi, join our Discord. Thanks for being in the chat. I traded Ridley, AB, Montgomery, and JT for CMC and T. Higgins. Who won it? Whew. Ridley. Ridley to me is the best out of all of these, but I do like T. Higgins. C-Mac is a question mark, but could be huge. So it's really hard for me to say who won this. What do you guys think? I'm gonna throw it to you guys because I don't know here.
I have a take, but you want to go first, EJ?
Sure. We'll finish it off with yours because I know whatever you're gonna say. I can't follow this. On this one, I can't follow it up. Look, coming from a McCaffrey and a T. Higgins owner, having T. Higgins has been great. I've told you guys, I've loved him for the last couple of weeks. I love having him on my roster. Taylor, if he's a starting running back, that's nice, but Montgomery, he wasn't getting anything anyway. Antonio Brown, I mean, might be good, but he just threw a bicycle, so he may never play again. So this is basically Ridley and AB for McCaffrey and Higgins. If McCaffrey comes back, I think you won the trade because McCaffrey's going to be great, and I like Higgins rest of season. Ridley's going to be really good, but Antonio Brown I think is going to be iffy. There's a lot of mouths to feed in that Tampa offense. So if McCaffrey comes back, I think you won the trade.
Yeah. I mean, basically the same. It's just not looking good right now because it looks like it's going to be a multi-week absence. Now, I mean, if you can still get to the playoffs without him and he comes back for that, then that's probably worth it. But yeah, it's tough as it is. It's looking a little bit tougher because they could shut him down for the rest of the season. So, but I like what you did in theory, and you can't really account for, predict injuries. I mean, his injury was something different than what he had injured before. So it's not like he just re-injured that. So I like what you did, but it just looks like it may not work out.
Agreed. I love the little narrative there. I didn't even see all the responses to the it's still funny to me. All the little responses. I go back and look at the
replays
comment section.
Oh, constantly.
But Blue Crew.
What's up?
Thanks for being in the chat. He says, I need your suggestions, please. Pick 2 PPR wide receiver and flex. McKissick, Cup, Godwin, T. Higgins, or Claypool.
That's a nice problem.
Already starting. Yeah. Already starting. Hey, Thielen, Kamara, and Zeke.
Nice.
Zeke. Yeah, could be good. What do you guys think? I'm liking Godwin. I feel like Tom has his eyes on Godwin. I like Godwin. I like T. Higgins. What do you guys think? Jared?
I think maybe the easiest one for me actually might be Claypool. He's basically averaging like 11 targets over the last 3 weeks, like 9, 10, 12 or something like that. And he gets Jacksonville this week. So that's friendly all the way around. I like T. Higgins. He's playing Washington. Washington's been surprisingly good against
it's true.
The pass. They have given up the second fewest 2 wide receivers.
And that front seven's going to make it tough on Burrow too. Right.
I was just looking to see what Cup's got Tampa.
Cup's been terrible, man.
You don't know what. Yeah, like he'll blow up for 16 or 20, and then he'll quietly have 7 for a while. So the Rams, it's hard to know week to week like who's going to do well for the Rams. Robert Woods is the same way. Like, what are you going to get? You're going to get 4 points from Robert Woods, or 16 or 25. You just don't know. So I don't like the inconsistency there. Godwin, he's still getting targets. He had a solid game. He had 6 targets, caught all 6 for 92, but Rojo's doing okay. He's sharing with Antonio Brown. He's sharing with Mike Evans. Even in spite of the matchup, I might actually go still Higgins and then Claypool
over Godwin. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, just based on volume, and the matchup is kind of tough both ways. Like Los Angeles has given up the fewest points to wide receivers. I don't know who Jalen Ramsey is going to be on. Claypool and Higgins for me.
AJ?
I will go Godwin and Claypool, and then I just feel safer about Higgins than Kupp for the flex spot. I feel safer about Higgins than Cooper Kupp right now. The Rams are run
right?
I missed that. Yeah, pick 2 and a flex. Sorry.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, so I feel comfortable I feel more comfortable than Higgins than Kupp at this rate. And McKissick, I mean, he had a decent week. I mean, I think that's all I can say about that. He had 11. But yeah, I would go Godwin, Claypool, and Higgins would be my flex spot.
Yeah. So if I need a third, then I'll throw in Godwin. Yeah.
Godwin? Okay. Battle Royale. Look out, Jared, because in our listener league, he is coming. Slanting Chubb is coming for your first place. And what do you have to say for yourself, Jared?
Well, he's a game back, and he's more than 100 points behind me. So he's got a fairly, okay.
He's a good team.
He's got Giraffe this week, and then he's got Judah Buddha next week, and then he finishes up. And then he finishes up against the Windy City Hawks. So he's in pretty good shape to win 2 of those 3. He's in pretty good shape.
Easiest schedule. If this is a fantasy matchup, he just got a green, yellow, green, and the 2 greens are the 1 and 2 worst teams.
It might be 3 greens. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was looking at that. Yeah, it's I'm gonna have to win. See, like I said, someone's gonna have to finish a game ahead of me. Well, Jonathan could potentially tie me, and if he does really well, he could pass me in points. Nobody else really can pass me or catch me in points. So if I win 2 out of my last 3, even if he runs the table the rest of the way, he's still going to probably finish behind me. But if I slip up and only win 1, and he goes 3-3, so I may be.
Who do you have? Who are your 3? Your next 3?
I have MathQuest, and MathQuest doesn't look that good this week. He's projected for 92. I'm at 120, so I feel pretty good about that one. And then I've got Ryan in week 12, and his looks pretty strong for week 12. And then I've got Giraffe. So my schedule is not terrible. I've got a pretty good shot at going at least 2-1. And if I go 2-1, then he probably can't pass me. So we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. Len Boy says, I had Evans on the bench.
Same, dude.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
See, part of me wants to be like, I should have seen this coming, because whenever Brady does well, it's after a bad loss, because then he just goes off on whatever team he plays next. I should have seen that one coming. But yeah, I had him on my bench too.
I put him in because I look back to see what he did in week 2 against Carolina, and he tore him up in week 2 to the tune of 19.9 points. He had 7 catches for 104 and a touchdown. So I'm like, okay, he did it once. Maybe he can get somewhere in the ballpark. So that was what ended up swaying me.
And Evans is pretty consistent. It's weird.
Yeah, like
certain teams,
like he has some teams like New Orleans, he's terrible against. Terrible,
yeah.
And then Carolina, he's good at it. So it is weird. It's just very consistent.
All right. He said, Ryan N says, I put a claim $1 higher than AJ's budget on Winston just to mess with him in the listener league. How do you know that? Like $1 more than AJ has?
I think that's what he means. Yeah.
See, part of me wants to be frustrated about this, but I gotta respect it. That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Don't hate the game. Don't hate the player. Hate the game.
He says, time to claim all the quarterbacks from me and hope Stafford doesn't play. I respect that.
I get that. Yeah, that's good.
We'll see AJ like waiver wire dumpster diving for Taysom Hill.
Right, exactly.
Hey, you never know.
And then and then that would be the funny part then.
John Payton,
like,
Sunday morning, Taysom Hill's getting the start.
Yeah, I mean it could be. You never know.
It's a huge possibility.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna happen though. All right. Pick two of Edmonds, Crowder, Bernard, Chark, halfway PPR. Yeah, Edmonds has been not great. Not sure what his matchup's not great this week.
Oh wait, I thought they get. Who did they get? I thought they got.
I think it's Seattle.
They get Seattle. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's good for.
Back. He's the pass catching back.
That's true. I don't know though. I like Chark. Who do you guys like?
I'll get mine out of the way quick and just say if Bernard plays, I'm sorry, if Mixon is out and Bernard starts, then I would go Bernard, and then it would be tough to bench Edmonds with it being Seattle, so I would go with him, even though I normally like the consistency of Jamison Crowder. With all those receivers starting to get healthy, I don't know if he was still a little banged up last week or what, but he only had a couple of targets, and so I would go Edmonds, Bernard. If Mixon comes back, then I'd go Edmonds, Crowder.
Yeah, Crowder is so consistent as far as targets, at least.
Normally, yeah.
Not Chark though, right? What's going on with that? Just because his target share?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think Minshew just wasn't throwing the ball down the field, and
wasn't it Luton again last week?
Well, it is now, but I'm saying earlier in the season,
you're right.
Chark was just doing nothing because Minshew was in there and wasn't throwing the ball down the season, and then Luton came in.
Still out.
Yeah, it's still going to be Luton, but so I mean, I think Chark has more potential than before. Maybe he blew up against Houston. He blew up against Cincinnati earlier, but I mean, most weeks, it's just like. Most weeks he's almost just kind of like Hollywood Brown or something, So
Hollywood,
yeah, a rich man's Hollywood, because he has at least had a couple of weeks where he's gone off, whereas Hollywood just hasn't had anything really. So, yeah, I still, I mean, when the numbers are stacked against you though of what he's done during the season, I would probably rather go Crowder.
Okay, well, let's power through these. I got to get going. John Brown hurt? No, I don't think he's hurt. I think he did fine this week.
I
wish I'd started him.
He has an ankle problem.
Well, but they're on bye, so that's irrelevant. I think he'll be fine by the time they come back. Hollywood Brown, droppable for Lazard. I'm going to say yes. What do you guys think? Real quick.
I'm going to say yes. Lazard has a higher ceiling because, look, has he proven himself? No. He played 3 weeks and then got injured and had one good game in which Devontae Adams did not play in. But we've had Hollywood for 10 weeks and he's barely done anything. At this point, you might as well take this shot on Lazard and hope that he becomes a true number 2 under Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I'd do it.
Yeah, might as well. Although, okay, let's see. Hot fire sounds nice, Jay. Thanks.
That was about Antonio Brown. Yeah,
okay.
That was your whole speech on.
Yeah. The only way that story could have been better, I wish it had been a unicycle instead of a bicycle.
Yes.
I'm gonna give him an A-. It would have been an A+ if it had been a unicycle.
Can't wait for the next episode where he drives a Segway down Tom Brady's mansion steps.
Oh my goodness. All right. Looking at a flex too in his league. Am I crazy to consider Zeke versus the Vikings over AJ Brown versus the Colts?
Is this next week?
I think it's
this week.
Because AJ
AJ's got Baltimore this week. Yeah,
well, still
not. Yeah, still not terribly friendly. I don't think it's crazy.
I'd probably do Zeke. I'd do Zeke. Yeah. What do you guys think? Yeah.
Yeah, I got. I don't know. I've got to start Zeke in a couple of leagues. I mean, and just hope that finally he takes advantage of the matchup. I mean, the Vikings. I think this is one to do it on. If he's not going to do it on them, it's kind of like I started Jared Goff in a league last week because I'm like, if he's not going to pass on Seattle, he's not going to pass on anyone, and he didn't pass on Seattle.
He didn't.
And so it may be the same thing with Zeke. Like if he can't run on Minnesota, he's probably not going to be able to, get fantasy points on anybody. But I think you've got to, take a shot with it, just like we said with Michael Thomas and the Falcons earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So in all cases, maybe you should send Zeke.
Yeah, surely one of them though. You'd think one of them is gonna, just by probability sooner or later.
And Zeke, I think of all of them could do well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
maybe.
And he's not like you look at his numbers. The thing is, he's not getting touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's
still plenty of carries.
He's still getting carries. He's still getting not great yards. I mean, 50 or 60 something rushing. And then he's, adding a little bit receiving, where if you just throw a touchdown on top of that, then you've got like 14 points, which is okay. Yeah. But, their offense is just so bad, they can't get him in position to score.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. AJ, same thing. Yeah.
Same.
Good.
Yep.
All right. Clutchful. Thanks for joining us. I have Delvin Cook, James Robinson, and I'm looking for a consistent wide receiver one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to trade Adam Thielen. Well, okay, looks like his trade deadline is extended. Which in many leagues it is. I have a couple leagues it is. Robert Woods and Antonio Gibson. Who should I go for? Who's a good, consistent wide receiver? That's a good question. And that you could get for Robert Woods and Antonio Gibson, maybe. Well, I think Thielen's actually not too bad, but that's interesting.
He had a rough last 2 weeks when Dalvin Cook just decided to destroy everybody in his path. But last week he was nice. Got me 18 points, saved the game for me. 2 games.
I don't know if I'd trade him away. Who would you replace him with?
See, here's the thing. If he's trading up and he's willing to give up Woods, maybe someone who's hurting at running back, and he could get Gibson for maybe higher than what he's expected. I think Ridley, if someone's willing to give up Terry, if someone's willing to give up, I don't know, Keenan Allen. And even if you're willing to go for less than a wide receiver.
Keenan Allen.
What's another one? Justin Jefferson could be good, but I'll say Keenan Allen. I would love to have Keenan Allen on more of my teams. I got him on 2, but or 1 actually, but I'd love him.
And
Herbert's got eyes for Keenan.
And I guess this must be. I hope this is in a private league with a later trade deadline, because if it's a public league, it is.
Yeah, I think so. My trade deadline's been extended in most of my leagues, other than. But I'm not sure.
Public league deadline has passed. It passed over the weekend, so hopefully this is not a public league. But anyway,
would you do it? Would you do it for Keenan Allen? Would you do it for? What about Michael Williams?
No, Williams. No, he's still too inconsistent. I'll defer to AJ's advice on those. That sounds pretty good.
Okay, good. I've got DJ Chark. Hey, following the waves. Haven't seen you in the chat before. Thanks for joining us. I've got DJ Chark, DJ Moore. He's got the DJs. Tyler Boyd, Jalen Rager, Alan Lazard, Chase Edmonds. Which 3 should I start? Full PPR. I guess this is a wide receiver flex question. Ooh.
I
Chark?
could get mine out of the way, honestly, if you want.
Okay, go ahead. Go.
Chark, Boyd, Edmonds. Moore, no. Rager, too many mouths to feed in Philadelphia. Lazard, I needed to see what he does on his first week back coming off of injury. Easy, Chark, Boyd, Edmonds for me.
I'll go with mine quick too, so we can try. I'm going to say Boyd, Edmonds, and I actually am going to go with Moore. You don't know what you're going to get week to week, but last week had 96 and a touchdown, and he gets Detroit. He gets Detroit this week. They're middle of the pack, but I mean, he had Tampa last week, and Tampa is fairly solid. So
that's true.
DJ Moore, DJ Chark. You don't know what you're going to get with either one of them. I'll say Moore in this one.
Oh, okay, cool.
Judah, what about you?
Drew's the other one in the Discord chat. He's been prolific there. What's good? Speaking of, I forgot what we're speaking of, but Henderson droppable for Harris or Naheem?
Henderson season is probably the shortest season of a television show I've ever watched in my life.
It's not over, but I don't know if he's droppable, but he's definitely benchable. Not for Naheem, but definitely for Harris. Another one of my friends. But let's see. I have a Mixon Geo handcuff, but I keep that.
I totally
right. Yeah. Would you keep Geo?
Yeah, because we still don't know. We still don't know if Mixon's going to be even back this week, and maybe he gets hurt again. I think you got to keep Geo.
And let's even assume, let's assume this is half point or full point PPR. Geo catches a lot of passes out of the backfield too, and that's bonus points for him.
Yeah. So what do you guys do? Would you drop Henderson for Harris or Naheem?
I mean,
you're all the same guy. Right?
That's what I was gonna say. Is like it's kind of the same problem. It's like you wanna exchange the 3-man committee in Los Angeles for the 3-man committee in Indianapolis, or the 3+ man committee in New England, because you basically have to count like Harris, Burkhead, and Cam. So,
and Michelle isn't even back yet.
Michelle isn't.
He's back.
Everything.
So it really is just kind of all basically the same player. I would like to try to pick up one of those other guys but I would hate to drop Henderson for them necessarily.
Yeah.
But it's not I mean, if you have a strong feeling on one of them, I wouldn't try to discourage someone from going with it, because they are all right now, the situation's so similar.
Yeah.
But the way running backs are this season, I would like to have all 3 of them.
Right.
If it could.
Yeah.
Right.
If you have the room.
What do you think, AJ?
Yeah, like I said,
who would you drop?
Keep Mixon, keep Geo. Maybe for Harris, and that's just a maybe, because at least I know he's typically the number 1 and his schedule isn't terrible going forward. But I mean, Henderson is the workhorse back. If he can get goal line carries back from Malcolm Brown, I think that's totally worth it. Hines, man, he's got that passing floor. I will be honest. Hines is always going to have that receiving floor. If this is PPR, I might do it for Hines, because he's always going to be able to catch passes out of the backfield. If not, I might hang on to Henderson.
Liam says, looking for flex too. Am I crazy to consider Zeke versus the
Vikings? Wait, we did that one.
Yeah, we did that one.
Oh.
Yeah, same. It's everything, yeah.
Same. Okay. Let's see. Winston or Stafford from
Mark
Lee. Hey, thanks for being with us, man. I go definitely Winston, because Stafford has a broken hand. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Torn ligament, not a broken hand, but anyway.
Broken is broken either way. Every time I play Matt Stafford, I've played him twice, and he's put up like 10 points. And if I don't play him, he puts up 23. So, so I'm inclined to tell you not to play him, but I will not be playing him this week, which means he'll probably put up 23. So,
yeah, I don't think so. I don't know.
I would say Winston.
Yeah, I agree. AJ?
Winston
AJ?
against Atlanta if he's gonna get the start. If Sean Payton comes out Saturday morning and says, "Hey, he and Taysom are splitting dropbacks," then it might be Stafford in a hurry. But Stafford never performs well coming off of a hand injury. That's interception city. So I would go Winston.
Who are they playing?
Falcons.
Falcons. Ooh, pick
Winston's
up the Falcons.
Playing Atlanta. Winston's no. Winston's playing. The Lions.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Who do they get? Lions are going to be playing Carolina.
Carolina defense could be good, but they're probably
torched by Tampa.
Okay, who do I start this week? Can I start 3? T. Higgins. I can start 3. T. Higgins, Jefferson, Cooper, Lockett, or
it's a nice problem to have.
Yeah,
that's a nice problem to have.
Now Tyler Lockett is dealing with an injury, so scratch him. He's not doing well. I like Jefferson, T. Higgins, and Deontay. Just boom. Amari, come on, dude. We don't know who's throwing to him. That's a dumpster fire.
Dalton might be back.
What do you guys think?
Judah.
Yeah. My sweet Dalton.
Yeah, if Lockett doesn't play, man, that's a tough. I mean, he's getting the Cardinals that he put up 45.5 points against. So that is that's a heartbreaker for Tyler Lockett owners if he doesn't play. But all of these guys, I mean, Higgins actually doesn't have a good matchup on paper.
Oh yeah.
But Deontay Johnson gets the Jaguars. Start that up. Justin Jefferson gets the Cowboys. Start that up. Amari gets the Vikings. But who's starting at quarterback for them? I don't know. So it's hard for me to start Amari. I mean, if Lockett plays, he put up 45 against Arizona. I think even with a questionable knee, it's hard for me to put him on the bench. If he doesn't, then I'd say T. Higgins.
Okay. Is there hope for Hollywood from Drew Vano? He was asking us all week, and I can't remember what I told him. I hope I didn't tell him to play Hollywood. I probably did, though. I don't know, man. He has some better matchups going forward. He really does.
But at what point, though, are we going to say, oh, he keeps having good matchups, but he's not going to fulfill?
They haven't had good matchups up to now.
That's very true. But this is a Baltimore team that is run first. They run the ball, I don't even know, 40 times a game. And when they do throw it, it's going to Andrews. And we know how frustrating that he's been this year. It's going to Andrews more than it's going to Hollywood. I think Jay Postman 425 says this well. He's 10 weeks in and wide receiver 50. There's hope just because of the team he's on, and he could ignite. In deeper leagues, I definitely think he's worth hanging on to. But we had a question about Hollywood earlier, and we said, yeah, you might as well drop him.
Yeah, you're right. It's hard, though. It's hard. It's hard. Because he could ignite. He really could.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jared?
I've given up. I mean, if you need a spot start, like if you've, I think he's a guy that, especially maybe if you're chasing points or something and, he's got a great matchup that, I mean, he could have on 2 plays, 140 yards and 2 touchdowns or something, but I just would not start him unless I was in a deep league or had, so many injuries. Even then, it would be hard for me to not, just start somebody like Tim Patrick or Josh Reynolds or someone like that who's getting more volume. It would be more of a desperate. I mean, there's rarely a situation where I would say I would never play this guy. Like in the right situation, you might have to play anybody, but he would be well down the list for me.
Mm-hmm. But Len Boy says to keep in mind when you drop Hollywood, he will pick up his biggest game of the season. But if someone else
Happens.
picks him up, he'll landmine their team. That's what the game
Mm-hmm.
says.
All right, let's see. So I need a flex for 1.5 points per reception. Brandon Cooks.
Scribbles.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for being with us, Scribbles. I like that name, Grip Scribbles. I like that.
He's the manager.
Ahmed.
He sounds like he should be the manager of Scrabby Giraffe.
All right. Let's see. So Cooks, Ahmed, or Tim Patrick, or P. Ryan. Ooh, I like Cooks. Ahmed, I'm going to talk about picking up off the waiver wire. But I like Cooks. He didn't do very well this last week, but could be a big bounce back game from this week. I do like Tim Patrick too. He gets a lot of targets. You just mentioned him, Jared. P. Ryan, pass. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'll just order these real quick for me. Yeah, I'd say probably if I don't know, maybe if Breida's out again, maybe Ahmed. Again, even in a tough matchup against Denver, Miami likes to run the ball, but if Breida's in, then that bumps him down a little bit. So that really kind of would determine number one for me if it's him or Cooks, and then 3 would be Patrick, and then well behind at 4 would be P. Ryan.
Yeah, I would go Cooks number 1 for me. I would put him in flex. Salvin Ahmed, I mean, yeah, I think I'm with Jared. If Breida plays, he's my second right now. If Breida doesn't play, he's my second out of these. If he does play, I put Tim Patrick, despite the fact he's playing against Miami. I mean, at least Locke's going to be slinging the ball everywhere. So, I mean, he's going to catch something. But I'd go Cooks as my number 1.
Who's going to be slinging?
Drew Lock.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm feeling confident in Raheem Mostert and Myles Gaskin still being starting fantasy. Both come back in week 12. I feel confident about them coming back. I don't know how confident. I mean, it is a desolate wasteland out there. Put them on your, IR. I think it's not a bad idea. What do you guys think?
I like Raheem. I think when he comes back, he'll play 5 drives, score 2 touchdowns, and, maybe go out again. But either way, I think Raheem's going to do well when he comes back. Gaskin worries me just because at this point, there's been like 5 different running backs in Miami who have scored touchdowns over the last 2 weeks. So Gaskin worries me. He would be one of those guys that comes off, and unless it's in an emergency, which I probably will have, but unless it's in an emergency, I wouldn't start him if you can help it. But I am feeling confident about Raheem coming back in week 12.
Yeah, I tried to trade for Mostert in some places and couldn't get him because I felt like he would be a good maybe a late season spark plug or something. Yeah, I like him. If Gaskin comes back, I think he did well enough that he probably goes back into his starting job. So yeah, I like both those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Mark Lee is from China. What's up? Yo, shout out to China, guys. Good to have you, man. Thanks for tuning in. How'd you find us? Awesome. Okay, Anthony, please sit one wide receiver, T. Higgins, Anderson, or Jefferson. That's tough, but probably Higgins, right? Because, Jared, you said he's got a bad matchup.
I think he should just sit all of them. I think he should sit all of his players this week. You're right. He is. I had completely forgotten that. That didn't in no way factored into that decision there. I was just trying to provide some, honest, cold fantasy analysis. All right. I guess if you've got to sit one of them. No, I'll try to give some. Robbie Anderson hasn't done much lately. Justin Jefferson's got one of the golden matchups against the Cowboys. Hard to sit him. And even though T. Higgins, it's not an ideal matchup on paper, he's getting lots of targets and doing well. So I don't know. I mean, Robbie has a pretty good matchup against Detroit, although Detroit's kind of middle of the pack this year. So it's been a while. It's been a while since, he got off like 4 of those first 5 weeks, 13 plus in 4 out of 5. And since then he has not hit 11. So, and last week it was 4. So I would be sitting Robbie.
Yeah,
AJ,
Robbie helped me lose a game. I think, yeah. I mean, it was one of the decisions I would have needed to make to win, but still, 4 points still hurts no matter what league it's in. I like Higgins, like I've said. I think Burrow likes Higgins, and Jefferson has a beautiful matchup against Dallas. So there's no way I'm sitting him.
Okay, Magic Trio says, should I trade Mixon and Lockett for Zeke and Swift? I like Swift. I'm worried about Zeke. But Lockett and Mixon are a little banged up.
Yeah.
This is not a do it, obviously.
No. I guess what does the rest of your running back situation look like?
Sure.
Like, I mean, do you need, do you have a lot of receiver depth and you need to add 2 running backs? I mean, I don't know. I mean, even if that's the case, I might just be then inclined to like try to trade Lockett straight up for Swift. I don't know that I'd necessarily want to do that Mixon for Zeke thing, but I think it just kind of depends on your situation.
Yeah. AJ?
That's tough. I like Mixon, I'm going to be honest, because he's just such a workhorse back. But if he's just not going to be able to stay healthy, Burrow's throwing the ball all the time. Yeah, I think like Jared said, if you need running backs, I would do it. But if you're kind of sitting pretty and you're just doing this for depth, I don't think I would, especially because Mixon has a matchup against Houston in Week 16. I don't want to give that up.
He just commented the most recent comment, and maybe you can click on it where, he explains what the rest of his team is.
Eckler, Gaskin.
So you are kind of hurting for
I would do it in that case because now you've got Tyreek, Michael Thomas, Ayuk, and Evans. That's going to be fine. And Antonio Brown.
Wide receiver. Yeah,
that's a good wide receiving core. And especially with Eckler and Gaskin gone and McKissick is your second best, I think I'd do it then. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, again, we talked, I mean, Zeke's got if you can't do it against Minnesota, that's a good matchup. And then he's got Washington. Again, you'd think, well, I mean, although just a few weeks ago he didn't do much of anything against Washington, but he's got a fairly decent schedule at least prior to the playoffs, and then maybe some of those other guys are back and you sit him for the playoffs. But with your running back situation being what it is, if you can't pull somebody off the waivers or something, that's maybe a deal worth doing.
And he also brings up that he could do Mixon and Lockett for Zeke and Jefferson, but with his wide receiver depth, I don't think it's worth it. I think he needs running backs here.
Go for running backs, and I really like Swift.
Yeah, I'd rather have Swift than Zeke the rest of the season.
Yeah, me too. Okay, this is from McSweet. 1, 2, 3. Seen you here again, back asking questions. Thanks for coming, man. Do I trade DK Metcalf and DeAndre Swift for Russell Wilson? That's a flat out no for me. I'd rather not have Russell Wilson at the end of the season, and I would like to have DK, and I would like to have DeAndre Swift. What do you guys think? Real quick, we're going to have to fly through these.
Yeah. I'll try to get mine out of the way real quick. Yeah. Russ, I mean, it depends on what you need. Like I traded Calvin Ridley and Melvin Gordon for Patrick Mahomes in a league because, I mean, it's different, but still, I mean, Ridley's good. I think it depends. I mean, again, just like the other, like what does the rest of your receiver and running back depth look like? And is quarterback bad for you? So if you've got a lot of depth there, that's a lot to give up for Russ. Yeah. I would not want to give that up for Russ. I would try to get away with something cheaper. But if you've got tons of depth at those other positions and garbage at quarterback, it might, the point upgrade might make sense for you. I would try to get away with something cheaper.
Yeah, same here. Look, Russell's going to be really appealing to a lot of people in the next couple weeks because they get Arizona, Philly, the Giants, and then the Jets. So you really couldn't ask for anything better. And he said he's got Carson Wentz and Tua. Honestly, I'd rather have Carson Wentz and try to stream other quarterbacks if necessary, and partially because Russell's end of season schedule is Washington and then the Rams. That's the one team he just got 11 points against. And Judah brings this up. He's brought this up the whole year. Russell always tapers off at the end of the year. Both of you guys said. Both of you guys. You both have brought up. Russell always tapers off at the end of the year. If you're going to trade for a quarterback, I'd rather give up less and maybe even try to get Lamar because at least he has a safe running floor. Right, at least he's gonna get you decent points, maybe, than really having to give up a lot for what's right now like the number 3.
That's true. You could give up a lot less for Lamar. That's true.
Exactly. And like even with his other one that he asked, Tyreek and Gibson for Russell, I'd rather have Gibson and Tyreek. Tyreek's always consistent, and Gibson's the flat out number 1. I would not trade for Russell Wilson. I would rather trade for Lamar right now instead of Russell. You can get him for less, and I think it might be better for you in the end.
Okay, going real fast. Drew says, who has the bigger game versus the Rams, AB or Gronk?
Assuming AB doesn't get taken up in a UFO.
I don't know. Probably Gronk. I think he's looking to Gronk for the big plays. He trusts Gronk. Tom trusts Gronk for those big plays that he needs. I think Gronk. You guys?
I kind of think the opposite way. Gronk's pretty touchdown dependent. If he, 2 weeks ago he had 0.7 points. He's been very consistent with getting 12 to 15 ever since OJ Howard went down. But I think Tom's going to be trying to, force feed AB, and the longer, especially the longer this goes with AB not having a 100-yard game or a touchdown, I don't think Tom Brady wants a bicycle thrown at his head. So I think he's going to try to. I think he's going to try to force feed at home in bed. AB's, just kicks open the door and throws a bicycle at him. So I think because of volume, I'm going to go AB.
Right.
And because of threat of physical violence.
AJ,
I've never been a fan of 2 tight ends. I've never been a fan of the 2 tight end strategy. I think they're just too boom or bust for me. I would rather go AB. Jalen Ramsey can't cover everybody. I think he'd probably be glued on Evans. If we look at the Seahawks game, who was he glued on? Metcalf. Yeah, he was the one who was blowing up, but also he's the biggest dude on the field. I think he's probably going to go to Evans, especially after Evans would have caught the touchdown pass last game. I'd rather go Antonio Brown, assuming he doesn't get suspended for something else that happens this week.
Watch the news, Drew. All right, Scribble says he's worried about Dalvin because it's maybe a huge.
He's worried about Jefferson because
maybe a huge Dalvin game.
That's very true.
Possible, but I think you got to start your Vikings. Thielen, Jefferson, Cook.
Start them all.
Even Cousins maybe in deeper leagues.
I'm going to be starting Cousins in a couple of leagues. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it's not a Monday night game, so and he broke the curse anyway. So what?
Did.
Oh yeah. All right, he says, I have Eckler.
That was in reference to the.
Oh, yeah. We already talked about that. Okay. Hines, Harris, Ahmed, or Booker. I have Connor Ballage in my lineup for the week. Also, I have Drake, Scott, Dallas, DJ Dallas, and David Johnson and Mostert.
Ahmed or Booker, basically, is the question.
Stick with who you got, is what I'd say.
I would throw Drake in there. It's Drake against the Seahawks. He ended up with, a fair amount of carries. You can't count on what Hines is going to get, unless we start seeing a few straight weeks of production from him. Harris is good. You can make a case for Harris against Houston, but Cam might vulture those touchdowns. Ahmed, we don't know if Breida is going to be back. I mean, just based on what we know right now, I would say, Drake against the Seahawks is probably your best bet, but that's not to say that you shouldn't pick up Hines or Harris if you can.
Yeah,
I would pick up Harris and drop DJ Dallas. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's why he has drop in parentheses right next to him too.
Yeah,
I would do the same. I'd drop Dallas for Harris probably, and then Hines, like 2 waiver claims, Harris then Hines if it was me. Especially because he is the workhorse back. He got 100 yards, granted, in a game where nobody could throw the football farther than 5 yards downfield, but still, I'd drop Dallas for Harris.
Okay, last one. This is the last one. I have Metcalf, Ridley, Boyd, Claypool, Godwin, McLaurin, T. Higgins, Ayuk for wide receiver. Ayuk's not playing this week. Need to get rid of one of them, though, since 7 is the max.
Right.
Ridley on IR. Who would you trade for Aaron Jones or Dalvin Cook? Interesting. For Dalvin Cook, I trade them all.
Who's trading away Dalvin Cook? Wow.
I would trade all of them for Dalvin. I'd just say take them all. Yeah, I mean, literally, there's nobody in there that I'm holding on to. Oh, Metcalf. I didn't see Metcalf. I'd hold on to Metcalf. Ridley, it bothers me. It just feels like he's brittle. I like Boyd too. Claypool, Godwin, McLaurin, T. Higgins, Ayuk, give them to the man for both Aaron Jones and Dalvin Cook. What do you guys think? This is the last one.
Yeah, I'll let AJ have the last word here, and I'll get mine out of the way and say, basically kind of similar to what you said. I mean, I don't know if you like one on. Oh, this question is just like almost overload for me. So, I don't know how you could give away one of them for one of those guys. But if you want to give up a handful or something, like I would say Godwin, it's going to be difficult for Godwin to have blow up games when he's sharing with AB and Evans and Gronk and Rojo. Godwin would actually be at the top of my list of who to give up. Maybe then Ayuk, because if Debo, he's on bye, and then I don't know, is Debo coming back sometime soon?
True.
So maybe him, and then if you have to have a third guy, maybe I don't know, maybe Boyd or Higgins. I mean, I think they're both they're both gonna do well for Cincy, but one of those I would try to keep Metcalf. Hope Ridley gets healthy. Claypool's schedule is nice. McLaurin is nice. Those are probably my top 4.
AJ.
Yeah, Metcalf. So like I'm trying to go by like process of elimination here. And I think this is, if I counting correctly, that's 8 receivers right there. So Ridley's on IR. So he needs to give at least one of those. He needs probably to give 2 of those away, probably, to get someone in return and bring Ridley in. So easy keep Metcalf and McLaurin. Those guys have been absolutely incredible for most of the year. I agree with Jared on Godwin. I think I don't think you're going to be able to get a trade for Ayuk, especially because I'm assuming if you're trading with a guy, he's going to need someone this week probably. And Ayuk's got a bye, so I don't know if you'd be able to trade him away. If you could, I think you should if he's willing to take Ayuk. Godwin, Ayuk. I would keep either Boyd or Higgins. Maybe keep Boyd. I love Higgins though. So maybe something like Godwin, Ayuk, and Boyd. Maybe the 3 of them. I don't think you'd want 2 Bengals wide receivers on your team because then it's just dart throw at who's going to score the touchdown. So I would keep Metcalf, keep Ridley, keep Claypool, and keep McLaurin for sure. And then I'd hang on to Higgins, see what amalgamation of Godwin, Ayuk, Boyd, and maybe if not Boyd, then maybe Higgins you can get for Jones or Dalvin Cook. I love them both, honestly. Both of those guys are great. And Jones' playoff schedule, beautiful. So if you're looking like you're going to make the playoffs, I might go Aaron Jones. If you need to win now, try to get Dalvin Cook.
Amen to that. Let's move on to the waiver wire real quick. Guys, look at somebody who's your top 3 for the waiver wire. I, for one, am looking only at Salvin Ahmed he's a running back for the Miami Dolphins. Michael Pittman, not because I think he's going to be like a league winner, but because the wide receiver on the waiver wire, maybe you guys can look, but is just barren, and I am desperate. So I'm looking at Michael Pittman. I'm looking at Cordell Patterson, because he's a wide receiver who's getting touches as a running back.
On bye this week, keep in mind. So by the time they get back,
yeah, that's true. And then I'm hitting the smash button on Jameis Winston everywhere. I need a quarterback. And then my last one is Jared Rager? ? Looks like he's playing well. Jalen Rager?
Yeah. Okay. You said Jared Rager.
Oh,
I mean, that is Jared.
Jalen Rager.
I'm going to be in his head for a while from last week. So.
Ever since that. Oh, get out of my. All right. So, what do you guys think as far as a pickup tonight? Is there anybody that jumps out to you? Those are my 4.
Jared, you want to go ahead?
Sure, I'll get mine out. So I think Balaj for me is number 1 because he's probably going to have a couple of weeks. Some of these other guys, Hines, again, week to week, is Hines going to take over that backfield? Is it just going to shift back and forth? We don't know. At least with Balaj, I think we know he's probably going to have a couple of weeks. At least this week, he gets the Jets, and then next week would be Buffalo. If Austin Eckler isn't back, but Justin Jackson's on IR, so he's not coming back for a few weeks. So I think just based on the volume, the matchups, and the amount of time he's going to get as starter, I would go Balaj. Hines, of course, is another good pickup. And then Ahmed is a little bit riskier. You don't know if Breida's coming back. Damian Harris is only like 60% rostered. 60% roster. So you could get him. He's in, great matchup with Houston this week. I'm going to go over the total of this here. I'm going to say, and then I'll finish off with a couple of Patriots here and say, Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
Jacoby Myers is, I think, 48%. Let's see what he's at.
Yeah,
48%. If you need a receiver, 3 straight weeks of double-digit points. He's getting a lot of targets. They just don't have that much. So I like him. And then, if you've got a low waiver priority and somebody grabs all of those running backs, Judah's guy that he likes pretty well, Rex Burkhead, might be an interesting pickup because he's kind of getting the James White work this year. So he had some more catches in that game against Baltimore. He caught 2 touchdowns. Now 2 weeks in a row where he's had he had 14 plus in week 9 and he had 20 plus in week 10. So he's a little bit farther down the list, but if you're more desperate, you could go with him.
Good call. I like those. I like all those. AJ.
Yeah, for me, I think Ahmed's definitely one of them. Balaj is another one if he's definitely out there. And look, yes, listen, Josh Kelly owners, I was burned by the Chargers deciding to do weird things with their run game too. But we don't really have time to be picky anymore. So, yes, I would absolutely go Balaj. Wide receiver is basically just a barren wasteland. Maybe Keelan Cole. He's getting targets from Luton. That's really iffy, but I mean, beggars can't be choosers at this point. And I don't think they're going to be using James Robinson on the ground that much against Pittsburgh. So they will be needing to air it out, I think. In terms of quarterback, like Jared and I said, Cousins is owned in 30% of leagues and he gets Dallas. That's a really, really nice matchup. He's coming off of back-to-back games, 20 and 18 points. I think those are some really, really good matchups that you can get. That's pretty much it. Also, Chris Boswell, if you're looking for a kicker, he's been doing very, very well recently. 8+ points in every game except 1 in the last 5 weeks. So if you're hurting at kicker, look for Chris Boswell.
And I'll plug Josh Reynolds one more time and say last 3 games, his targets have kept going up 8, 9, and 10. And he's had, 13 points in 2 of those 3 games. So, the Rams, I don't know. But anyway, if you need a deeper pickup at wide receiver, Reynolds is still worth a look.
All right. Well, that does it. We have Burkhead or Harris. Quick. Burkhead or Harris?
Harris.
I see Harris. Harris.
Yeah, got to go with Harris for the volume.
Yep.
And then Thomas H says Falcons spent get out of here with your
Look, when they run the table and beat the Saints and then beat the Saints again and then beat the Bucks and then beat the Bucks again, then we can talk about their playoff run.
Good night, everybody. It's time for Betty Bye for this guy. I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired. So
thanks for a great comment section tonight. It was awesome.
Yeah. It's on fire. It's fun. Like a lot of views tonight. Love it. Love it. Come back. We'll be here on Saturday morning, probably. So, no, we'll be here. Some of us. Yeah. Somebody. Even if we got to pull somebody else in. So good night, everybody. Good night. Good night. Good night. You guys, good night.
Good night. Good luck on the waiver wire.
Yep.
Yeah, good luck on the waiver wire. All right. And goodbye.